Hello and good evening. We're glad you're here tonight. My name is Sam Camera and I'm an interim assistant principal.
And I'm Mickey Gramacki, assistant principal and also administrative liaison to the special education department at the high school. All right, so we're here tonight to offer SEPAC families and possibly students, if you're there, an opportunity to go through next year's schedule, which is changing to a 4x4 block for next year. And we really wanted to give families an opportunity to ask specific questions that might not be as relevant in a much larger group setting. So we really wanted to dedicate tonight to our families and students with IEPs at the high school. So we're going to get started with the presentation. If you've been to one of our town halls or if you've watched a recent school committee meeting, you may have already seen this presentation on the 4x4 block schedule. But for those of you who haven't, we thought we would go through it and then we'll just ask you to put any questions, comments that you have in the stream. And at the same time, Sam's position, she'll be building the master schedule this year, and then I too will be closely involved with the schedule. So we really urge you to reach out individually if you have specific questions and concerns. Obviously our liaisons, our special education department head are also there for you. So we just want you to feel that more personalized approach, that you certainly can reach out with specific questions or concerns. So I'm going to get started.
I'm going to have us disappear so this screen is it's just a little bit larger. And keep in mind, if you want it to be even larger, you can click anywhere in the center of the screen and it'll go full screen. Okay.
Great. So are you able to advance the next slide?
Nope.
Okay.
We even tested this today.
All right. No
multiple times. Maybe it's a lag. Let me give it a second. So Mickey, let me stop sharing and then you can share yours.
Okay. So I have a timeline here. I don't know if that's yours or mine.
Oh, that's mine. So I will, once you're sharing, it should show. Ella, are you seeing it on the YouTube channel? Is it showing? It is. No, it's not yet. Okay. Our apologies, everybody. We tested this 3 times today, and there's some glitch in the way my computer communicates. Okay, so you're a little bit advanced there. All right.
I'm going to go back. Okay. So we're starting with the background and rationale for the 4x4 block. So the uncertainty about COVID, uncertainty about the fall, and our need for a lot of time to actually build a master schedule and take student requests led to the superintendent directive to plan a block schedule for next year. And the goal in that schedule is to reduce the number of cohorts within a school day. So on February 9th, the school committee actually made a statement about the high school being in person fully in the fall. And so therefore we are implementing this 4x4 block schedule.
So here's the timeline. We've moved through some of it. In December and January, we convened a scheduling committee to evaluate the past and present schedule. We updated TNL, which stands for Teaching and Learning. Those are the department heads on this process. And then this is these are the names of the folks that are on that committee. In February, we gathered input and feedback from all of the faculty about the proposed schedule. And then in March, which is now, we're working pretty diligently on the program of studies. So the department heads and the departments are meeting with all of the faculty members. We're going to move into course registration very shortly here. And then we're going to go ahead and finalize the summer school format and the offerings. And then in early April, we'll begin course registration. And actually, April 8th, we have a date for the 8th grade family curriculum night. I should fix this slide. And that's April 8th. And then in May, we'll do course verification. And then as the course verifications come in, we'll build the schedule throughout the summer.
So when the directive came to go into a block schedule, we looked at a couple different options for block schedules. The 3x3, would not give students a lot of choice. We also looked at what we're in now, the 3x3+1, which would be slightly more choices, but it would lead to this potentially random year-long block that would be different for all students. So that was rather awkward. And we really landed in what we are going with the 4x4 block with the semester format. So that means that students will have 4 classes in the fall, and then they'll have 4 classes in the spring. The AB block is a very popular block schedule, but because all 8 courses meet at a time for each day and it rotates every other day, that really didn't accomplish the goal of minimizing cohorts. Oh, and we did look at the trimester. That question had come up. Those of you who might have older children know that many years ago we were in a trimester schedule, and for many people that schedule worked really well. We just felt that it would be such a redesign challenge for a 1-year schedule.
So this is the schedule itself. I'm going to talk you through it. The teacher day is approximately 8:05 to 3:35, and that's going to depend a little bit on the transportation. And so the times here are estimations as a result. In the morning, teachers will begin with collaboration, IEP and 504 meetings, faculty meetings, as well as department meetings. On the left-hand side, you'll see a 2 lunch option. And then on the right-hand side of this table, you'll see a 3 lunch option. The 2 lunch option is a little bit more compressed during that C block, which means that there would be more students in the cafeteria and eating lunch. And so one of the reasons we came up with both a 2 and 3 block schedule was we're not quite sure if we can have that many students in the cafeteria at once. And so my suspicion is we'll be going with the 3 lunch block, which means, again, A period starts at 9:05, and then B period at 10:30. C period is 11:55, and you'll see there are 3 different slots there. So one of them would function as a lunch block. And then D block runs from 2 to 3:20. And then we have this sort of D plus, which is some executive functioning support for students, opportunities for students to check in, what's their homework for the night, what do they need to bring home, do they need to go to their locker, do they need to talk to the teacher, do they need to send an email? So there will be a little bit of opportunity for students to check in with adults at that time. There are going to be sports teams needing to miss some of D block depending on the sport and depending on what time of year. So all students will, if they're on a team and need to leave early for a match or a game, may miss some of D block. And so it will be their responsibility to check in with that teacher about their absence and to make sure that they know what they're missing. Our athletic director is going to be communicating with area athletic directors to see if there are options to start matches and games a little bit later. So we're still working on that, but in general, they won't miss a great deal.
So we tried to anticipate what questions would come up, with one of the questions being about music ensembles. That's definitely an important question. So like most 4x4 blocks, we will have a music block that will alternate every other day with one of the courses that the student selects. And we will also be offering quarter electives. So our goal was to have students that are involved in the music program. And next year, it will also include a dance ensemble. So students can be part of the dance theater ensemble every other day. And students then would also have opportunities to take quarter electives, which is a segue into the next question. So our most electives next year will run for 45 days. So in the fall, for each block, students could elect 2 different electives. And so basically each block allows students the opportunity for those 2 electives. There's a question about directed studies that comes up with this schedule. So I'm not aware of any schools that have directed study. We're not planning to have directed studies in the schedule next year. We don't think that it's wise to have a quarter of an academic day be devoted to a directed study. And at the same time, we know that teachers really need to embed extra help, support, and time for students to catch up within that 80-minute block.
So the next question is, what about academic skills? So for students in special ed programming, the teams that work on that programming are going to need to determine the services that individual students need. So some students may require an 80-minute block, but other students might not. So we will offer academic skills in an 80-minute block. And again, we'll have to decide that in individual teams to figure out what's needed for each individual student. Will some courses run year-long in a 4x4 block? So the answer to that question is yes. There will be a few courses that run for the full year. That's known as double blocked. Examples of this are Algebra 1, Integrated Math, Topics in Math, AP, which is a BC Calculus, as well as AP Physics. Some courses are actually going to run 3/4 of the year as well, which then would give the last quarter or 1 quarter as an opportunity for an elective. The next question is, what about doubling up on math and world language? So students are going to be permitted to request additional blocks in academic departments, and we're going to do our best to accommodate those requests.
So as we end our presentation, a question has come up about the following school year. So for the 22-23 school year, technically we would return to the negotiated 7-drop-1 schedule, but we will be convening a scheduling committee in late fall that will include student input, family input, faculty and staff to determine what schedule makes the most sense for Amherst High School the following year. And then we'll go through that process, which could be continuing with a block, modifying the block, or potentially going back to the 7-drop-1. So where can I learn more about the 4x4 block? So locally, Northampton High School, one of our neighboring high schools, is in the 4x4 block. And Cambridge Ridge and Latin is a school out near Boston that has moved to a 4x4 block and has actually put a lot of wonderful resources on their website. When we convened our first scheduling committee, we referenced many of the documents that they had on their website. So that's a place where you can certainly learn about how other schools have implemented the 4x4 block.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move into the question and answer form of this. There's a little bit of lag when the questions come in. I will post the questions up so you can read them, and we'll read them out loud. But yes, feel free to ask questions on anything we've spoken about just now. I have a hard time believing there are no questions. Well, so I checked the YouTube channel to see if there are any questions over there, and there are none.
And so I think we'll leave you with a reminder that you're always welcome to contact us directly, as well as your child's liaison. And also a reminder that on April 8th, we will have an 8th grade family night, so that if you if your child's in 8th grade or you know anyone in 8th grade, we will be doing a special evening presentation on the entire 9th grade course offerings, as well as an introduction to the high school. So we hope that you all attend that April 8th evening. So again, thank you so much. We're very happy to speak to SEPAC, and we hope everyone has a good evening.
And I think the good news is you know how to reach us if you do have questions. Mickey, I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds before I end the broadcast, just in case someone thinks of something. But I think we're good. Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you.